All right, guys, what's up? So always trying to make these things more personal. I know that the first couple weeks I've spent here doing my self-therapy or whatever is listed over there, I have been spending time mostly talking about, day-to-day things in my life and just talking about things I'm working through. I'm going to keep mixing some of that in. I'm also going to start mixing in some stories, right? I'm going to continue to work on being better at mixing in stories for you guys. Stories about my life so you can really understand the background and why I think the way I think now, so that it can all be kind of cohesive for you and you can get as much of transparency into my life as possible, right? It's always my goal. That's my whole goal with all this live streaming stuff, with this YouTube channel, with everything, is to have essentially infinite transparency. I want you, I wish I could just put Big Brother cameras all over my house and hire a full-time video editing staff, like this, the quality of Big Brother, and just have them constantly edit video of my life and always have the live stream, but also just put every single thing I'm ever doing on live stream. Like, that's what I wish I could do, because I'm just having so much fun exploring what it means to be human and adventure and live life with you guys. That's why it's called Living Life with Woody Rini on the YouTube channel. So anyway, today I'm thinking about one of my unique skills, and I'm really enjoying thinking about it. It's a lot of fun, okay? And the skill I have that's, I think, really good is my ability to just stand pat when things get tough. I think people love to panic, and I think 99% of my success is not from, I spend 1% of my time just saying, okay, move forward, and I spend 99% of my time just saying, okay, let's stand pat when things get tough, let's not go backwards. Because guess what? If you're always moving forward just a little and you're never going backwards, then you're always going somewhere, okay? If you move backwards at all, right, if you're falling backwards, then that usually means that you can't be sure you're going to succeed, and that puts all this doubt into your head. So what do I mean by this? Well, this week, right, my allergies are off the charts. They are so bad. And so I'm sitting here and my throat's already sore from talking about the parable. I still got the podcast to go and the workout for today, right? And the pollen has just bloomed like crazy here in North Carolina. And so I feel insane, right? And yesterday, I was in so much pain from allergies that every moment of yesterday, I felt like screaming and smashing my head into the couch and doing whatever, just something. I wanted to hit myself on something just to take away the pain of the allergy symptoms that I have, right? But man, it was wild, okay? This congestion and stuff. And so here I am, right? I got my allergies and whatever, and I don't feel like doing anything, but I'm still doing the daily routine every day, right? And it's not like I have a big audience right now. I generally have 1 or 2 people sticking on the live every now and then a few people watching on YouTube, but it's not like I have a big audience right now. So if you're watching this and you're a part of a larger audience watching things, in the future, in June 2020, I don't have a big audience, so I don't have that many people to perform for. But this has always been my skill, is just substance over flash, right? Just staying still, staying with it, staying steady, right? And just not failing, not being backwards, not messing up. And so I'm really excited about this week, because it's just another growth opportunity in that, right? And what I mean is, I have just felt like a ball of walking sinus pressure this week, right? I could have easily quit on the podcast or on the live schedule, or I could have just, quit uploading to YouTube, or I could have quit making progress, or I could have quit cooking, or all these initiatives I had, right? And no one initiative is that important in life. It's not that big of a deal. But the thing I'm finding is I'm so happy because I'm just continuing to go forward. In fact, I got my alarm set for 8 today so that I woke up and I was there by 9:15 to start recording for you guys. And so the point of all this reflection is kind of all I'm looking to do is, on my own end, just looking to understand my own substance, right? And to understand the amazing returns that are coming from this substance, and that all the joy and all the happiness I have is because of just staying substantive, staying there, staying steady over and over again, day after day, right? Even when you don't have a big audience. And then the other thing is, I want to share this with you so that you can see more of what it's like to have substance, right? Because here's the thing, when people are trying to convince you of stuff, or sell you stuff, or teach you stuff, or anything, they're trying to make it as flashy as possible in order to get your attention. And so while I like to use flashy headlines and controversial headlines to get your attention, I don't really like to be flashy in my teaching. I like to just tell you the substance. And sometimes I think people underestimate that, And it may take me some time to really have my impact, because people just underestimate substance. But let me tell you some stories about it. right? One of the things I always remember was in my tennis game. I was a tennis player, right? You can see my shirt, Center Tennis, Center College in Kentucky. And so I played D3 tennis in college. I was one of the top players on my D3 team. And I played in high school, and I was maybe like number 13 or 14 in the state of Kentucky, which is frankly not that good. Kentucky's not that big of a state. But I wasn't terrible, right, for my like age group. I was like number 20. There were kids from Louisville and Lexington who were better than I was. But anyway, point of all this is that I would have tennis matches, and my senior year of high school, I got a new tennis coach. And this would happen every time I got a new tennis coach. So senior year of high school, I get a new tennis coach. He comes in. He's not really a tennis player. He's been involved with tennis. He doesn't play that well himself, but he is a great coach, a great athletic coach, and he's been involved with other tennis programs, helping them, right? So his name was Rick Hernandez. He's a really good coach. And so he's teaching me and stuff, and he would always be really motivated. And one time I was playing this match, right? And I'm playing, and I was the number one player in my high school. And in high school tennis, especially in Kentucky, generally the way it went is I would have 15 matches in a given season. I would like destroy like 12 or 13 of the kids, right? Shout out to Logan Pauley, Woodford County. And I would lose horribly to about 2 of the kids because they were better than me in my area, in my region. And then I'd have maybe like 1 close match, right, during the season. So there weren't a lot of close matches in high school tennis because, again, it's high school tennis in Kentucky, and so not everybody's that good, right? And I was not good enough to be in the top tier, but I was a lot better than all the people who were just playing casually. So I was kind of here in this middle. And so I was playing one match, and I was just like, going about my business, just crushing this kid because, I take lessons every week and I'm better. And so I'm winning like 6-0, 3-0 or something. Like I'm just destroying this person. And so then, I'm playing, and my coach, has been wandering around, and then my coach comes to watch, Rick comes to watch me, and I play a couple games, and then after every 2 games, you take a break and sit down and get some water. So I'm sitting down to drink some water, and I'm ahead like 6-0, 3-0. My coach comes and he's like, how's it going? And I'm like, oh, fine. And he's like, do you need any coaching? Like, what's going on? Like, it looks close. Like, are you doing okay? Like, how's it going? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm winning 6-0, 3-0. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm winning 6-0, 3-0. Like, the opponent hasn't won a game yet. And he's like, what? Really? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, wow, like I wouldn't have thought that from watching. And then he was like, oh, well, I guess I don't need to worry about you. And then he walked away, and left. And then I won the match like 6-0, 6-0 or, whatever, right? Because again, that's not judgment on the other person. It's just like, especially with a high learning curve game like tennis, if I'm practicing a lot, I'm going to be a lot better, right? And I got my share of whoopings in basketball in school growing up. So I know what it's like to be on the other end of that and lose in basketball like 52-2, okay? So I've taken it both sides. But anyway, but that happened to me over and over again in my tennis career. Then in college, right? Another high school story, right, about tennis is I was playing, and there was this kid on my team, Gus. And now Gus was 3 years younger than me, Gus Benson, and he was a lot more talented than I was. And so even by the time he was a freshman in high school and I was a senior, we were pretty close. I might have just been a smidge better than him, but not much. And he ended up going to play for University of Kentucky, Division I. And obviously, if we played now, I think he would just kick the crap out of me. He'd be way better than I am. So he really is better, right? And he could hit it way harder. And he was like this athletic kid, right? And I've never been like that naturally athletic, right? When you see me get fit, when you see me work out, and when you see me lose weight, when you see all those things, it's because I work on it like a maniac, right? I'm not a natural Hulk, okay? As you can probably see. I'm pretty like I'm not shrimpy either. I am coordinated, but I'm just very nice, solid, like happy with myself. But Gus was this like athletic kid. Like he was a freshman in high school, and like he would already have these like traps coming up just because he was athletic. He didn't even work out. He just was like this athletic kid, and he could hit it so hard and serve way harder than me. But when we played our challenge matches, I would beat him by a little bit, and so I was number 1 seed on the team, and he was number 2. And whenever we'd go play, like we were playing once on this junior team tennis thing for our country club in Alabama, I think, and we're playing, and somebody looks at me, and they're like, are you really the number 1 player on your team? Because that kid next to you, he looks a lot better than you, right? Are you guys like stacking your lineup reversed? And I was like, no, like I'm actually better right now, and again, he got better than me, and he's way better than me now. But at that time, I was actually better. I was like, no, I'm better. But people kept asking me that, right? And so you have these tennis stories from high school tennis to junior team tennis with some of my same friends, and then even into college. In college, right, I would just play, and, again, every time I got a new coach, right, I had this new assistant coach my senior year of college, and what he did is he would just kept saying, like, Woody, you're just substance over flash. Like, he was always amazed because I didn't get upset that much. I was pretty level-headed. And even though none of my shots looked that good, I would still win a decent amount of the time. Now, I also lost a lot of the time in college because I was playing a higher seed and, I would just get beat a lot. But it was close and it was fun. And so I've always had this reputation in tennis as being substance over flash. And what I think is really cool about that is that it carries on into the rest of my life. And what I think is really annoying about that is all I want to do is talk to people about what actually works and what actually improves things in life, but everybody wants flash over substance. And I'm just there kind of like, why? Like, why would you want flash over substance? Why would you want to constantly be worried about the next thing? Why would you constantly need to watch the news and get brand new information? Why would you constantly need to obsess over superstar people? Why would you constantly need to do that when you could just learn to have substance and be calm and substantive in all situations and then just naturally get better at everything? Because that's kind of my approach, And I've also never been a fast starter on things. Okay, so even in school, where I was really, really excellent. Like, I was an incredible student, but even then, like, if you curved the rest of the class and me next to each other in school, it would look very similar for about the first, 3 or 4 weeks of a semester, right? About the same grades, same everything. And then the other class might learn a little bit, and I would just go like this and separate myself. And so every time I had a class in school, I would just go boom and just like go off the charts and break the curve. And I remember this vividly, freshman year of college. My first class that I really picked because I thought I was going to be a psych major was Psych 110. And we had this professor, and she was really hardcore, and her tests were hard. And I had never had a college test before. So my very first college test at a hard liberal arts school at Center was a Psych 110 test. And I took it, and I thought I did okay. And then we come back into the classroom, and she's giving us the results of this test. And she says, "Class, I am really disappointed in you guys. Like, I can't believe that, well, hold on a second. Let me have a cup of coffee." She said, "Class, I can't believe that nobody scored higher than an 82, which is a B minus. And the average score was like a 67. And I was like, oh my God. And so I got my grade back, and I had gotten an 80 out of 100, which was second best in the class still. Like, I was good, right? But 80, and one girl, Kristen, had gotten an 82. And she was also a really, really good student. So shout out to Kristen if she ever watches this. But anyway, got that. And so then, of course, what I did is I went back and I started learning how to study. And I studied really, really, really hard after being confused. And then after that, I just aced everything. Like 95, 100, 98, whatever. While everybody else still maybe went up a little bit. We're only in the 70s or, 80s. And so I would do that in school too. I would be a slow starter. And so maybe if that's you, the point of this is just for you to find yourself somewhere in this story. I vividly remember that I did computer science because of a few reasons. One, I wanted to get a job and make some money right out of school. I didn't want to go to grad school for psych. Number two, I like computer science people because they're all geeky and nerdy, and I like video games and Magic the Gathering and stuff, so I am a lot like those people, and I really just think they're the nicest people on earth. While we're on just personal topics and fun stuff, like random tangent, is, for example, why I like computer science is that if you've watched the show Never Have I Ever about the Tamil girl who's going to high school and all this stuff, one of her friends, Fabiola, is a computer nerd. She has a robot, and so she's got this poofy hair, right, like Black Girl, and she's always the character I like the most in that show. And the reason is she reminds me of myself because she's just this nice computer nerd girl who just is an introvert, and she just wants to do her thing and have nobody judge her and not let anybody down and just keep people happy, and she just doesn't want to be a cause for stress, right? And it's I just always see myself in that. And so that's why I liked computer science so much, right? And anyway, what was the point of all this computer science stuff? Well, every computer science class, I would also have this steep learning curve. And literally, computer science 110, I remember sitting at tennis practice talking to one of the guys who was a junior at the time, Matt, and he was like, yeah, did you have computer science 110 this semester? And I was like, yeah, I hate it. I hate computer science. It's the worst. Well, I ended up acing that class and majoring in it and doing it for 4 years. And even though I never liked coding that much, I really did like all the people and all the culture of it and all the way computer scientists think. And I learned so much from it. And so even in every computer science class, the first month, I would be so confused. I remember looking at some computer code like it was hieroglyphics. Not kidding. There was this compilers class where 1% of people will understand me when I say I had to write a compiler, and 99% of people have no clue what that means. But I had to write a compiler, and I remember looking at these triangles and symbols and stuff on how my thing processed these other things. It was so confusing. And I remember looking at the board and being like, this is just hieroglyphics. Like, I don't understand it. Like, it makes no sense to me. But then a few weeks later, I finally got it and ended up getting one of the best grades in that class too. And so my point is not that I'm smart. The point is that I've started slow on pretty much everything I've done, right? Like, I didn't have a huge growth spurt in 8th grade like all the other kids are. Like, you can look at the basketball photos of me in 8th grade, and I'm like this shrimpy little, like, 95-pound, super skinny kid, because if you listen to my other shows, I talked about how when I went on my nutrition kick in 7th grade, I stopped eating dessert, and I lost, like, 15 pounds and became really skinny, only from not eating dessert. Nothing unhealthy. And so anyway, I've always been kind of behind the curve in terms of flash, right? In terms of getting attention, in terms of being, like, the coolest, right? But I also always had substance, and I never fell backwards, never fell off the wagon, and so I just would keep getting better. So at tennis, right, when I was 12, a lot of these kids used to beat the crap out of me. And then when I was 14, right, I would come to the same tournament, and I would do okay. When I was 16, I would actually win the tournament, these little tournaments, right, not huge tournaments, but little tennis tournaments like in Ashland, Kentucky, or in Lexington. I won a couple of tournaments, right, over kids that used to beat me. And, you know, then in college, I was actually pretty decent. I was D3 tennis captain. And so that's not bad, right? Not bad at all. And same in school, where in the first parts of the school, right, I could just tell you story after story of how we would all get a B on something, and everybody else would just throw their hands up and complain, and then I would just keep getting better and better until I got like an A+ on the next one, right? And so, anyway, my point with all this reflection is this week I am celebrating my own persistence and substance, okay? Because if you think about it, it's in multiple ways. First of all, my allergies are off the charts, and yet I'm staying here in my routine, getting it better and better every day. Yesterday, I started at 9:16, and I told myself you did not meet the standard because you did not start streaming at 9:15. Today, I started at about 9:12 or 9:13 to make sure I was there on by 9:15, like I said, right? I'm fine. Oh, man, live TV is great. Just a little coffee down the wrong pipe. Whew! But anyway, anyway, that's probably a signal that I need to move on to the next segment. Oh, that's so funny. I've also struggled at times drinking water and drinking liquids, right? Like, not everybody chokes on their coffee every now and then. But sometimes I choke on liquids, and that's cool too, right? And sometimes I cry on camera, although this time it's just because I choked on some coffee. But apparently I need to breathe a little more and talk a little less. So guys, the point is, whatever way your substance, like, may take some time to come through, it's okay. Guys, it's okay. Substance just always wins in the long run. Like, I am such a tortoise, okay? And you may think Woody's out here on this podcast every day. If you're watching this, of course, you have found me somehow. Okay, and what I want you to know is that every time I'm recording these, it's not for a huge audience, and I'm struggling at first, and, you know, don't always want to talk, and I especially don't like being on social media. I'm such a social media tortoise, like, I don't like it at all. And so that's why my social media is kind of anti-social media, where I sit here and I'm very thoughtful and substantive over and over again. And guess what? People would rather go on Facebook and complain about things and gossip and argue with each other, and a gossipy, arguey comment will get 20 comments on Facebook, and my things will get no comments. And I don't mind because it's substance. But maybe if you're out there watching and you're one of the silent people watching substance, right, you'll realize, like, wow, like, if I do things with substance and persistence, it takes time. So what I'm celebrating is, one, I'm sticking with it, right, this week with my routine. And number two, I'm celebrating the long-term substance of what I'm creating, right? I'm being so substantive in what I'm doing. That's something I look around, and I see people who are flashier and more talented and who, you know, are better at certain things. But I really don't see anybody with more substance, with more desire to be substantive, to be useful, to be helpful, to grow. And so maybe it's time for you to stop worrying about the flash, right? And this is a part of the video where I tell you, as always, that if you look around and look side to side to see what other people are doing, you will always be running around like a chicken with your head cut off, right? And instead, if you just stay forward and have substance, your curve will take off, right? Oh, excuse me. So that's how the laws of physics work, right? And now in school, okay, it took me time to take off. In tennis, it took me years to take off. And so in my business, I know it will take me years to take off, right? But having that substance and just growing and learning, man, it's the best reward. And not falling backwards when you're tough, when you're tired, when you're down, that's what substance means too. It means, like, you just keep going steadily, right? It means you keep going steadily. And so, guys, that's a little kind of self-reflection for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll move on. We'll come up with something funny for me to talk about here in a second.